Former U.S. Marine Corps intelligence officer and UN weapons inspector Scott Ritter has issued a stark warning to the Philippines regarding its leadership's alignment with the United States. Ritter, known for his insights into global geopolitics, believes that the Philippines' current stance could have far-reaching consequences. Ritter states that the United States is not a true friend to the Philippines and is using the country as a pawn in its power struggle with China. He warns that following the U.S. into this conflict could lead to serious problems for the Filipino people. During President Duterte's term, there were big efforts to make peace with China. Duterte's administration worked hard to reduce tensions and build better relations with China, seeing it as an important neighbor. Ritter thinks this approach should continue because having good relations with China is more beneficial for the Philippines than following U.S. strategies that might lead to conflict. But why does Ritter think the U.S. is not a true friend to the Philippines? Ritter's concern comes from the history of U.S.-Philippines relations. He points out that the U.S. has always treated the Philippines as a lesser partner or even a colony. Ritter believes this still happens today, with the U.S. pushing the Philippines to stand against China for its own benefit. He urges Filipinos to recognize this pattern and push for a foreign policy that truly serves the Philippines' interests. He stresses that China should not be seen as an enemy, but as a neighbor and potential ally. Ritter believes that through diplomacy and peaceful relations, the Philippines can achieve more stability and prosperity. He thinks the benefits of a peaceful approach with China are much greater than the risks of aligning too closely with U.S. strategies to counter China's influence. What could happen if the Philippines aligns too closely with the U.S.? Ritter criticizes the U.S. for not genuinely caring about the Philippines. He says the U.S. is mainly interested in using the Philippines to achieve its own goals in the region without considering the well-being of the Filipino people. He warns that following U.S. directives could lead to severe consequences, similar to what has happened in Ukraine, where U.S. policies have led to conflict and devastation. Ritter's comments are a call to action for Filipinos. He encourages them to push their government to follow an independent diplomatic foreign policy. By doing this, Ritter believes the Philippines can avoid conflict and build a more secure and prosperous future through peaceful relations with its neighbors. Why should Filipinos listen to Ritter's warning? Ritter's critique extends to the overall U.S. foreign policy in the Asia-Pacific region. He questions whether the U.S. approach is sustainable or ethical, suggesting strategic interests rather than true partnerships drive it. Ritter's background as a military and intelligence officer gives weight to his warnings. He wants to spark a broader discussion about the Philippines' role in regional and global politics. Ritter urges a move towards greater independence and diplomatic engagement, emphasizing the need for the Philippines to make decisions that best serve its national interests. Ultimately, it's up to the Filipino people to assess the validity and sincerity of Ritter's message. It's important to consider diverse perspectives and make informed decisions that best serve the national interests of the Philippines. So, what do you think? Does Scott Ritter sound like he cares by telling us all this? Should the Philippines reassess its relationship with the U.S. and consider a more independent foreign policy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss how the Philippines can best secure its future.